freezing in New York. Freezing, freezing, freezing. But I want to take some time to talk to you because I had the opportunity to talk to some young, some young comrades today, to speak to young anarchists in a way recharges my own battery. Their passion for the cause, their excitement as they learn about the power and the purpose of the red and black flag makes an old dog like me feel like it's worth it. Being active in the movement, taking the time at my job on my lunch break or coffee break sometimes to make these videos, to talk to people, to know that there's another generation of people. I envy them. They're picking up, property is theft for the first time. They are reading Kropotkin for the first time. They're discovering anarcho-communism, libertarian socialism for the first time, which for me, even though I was always interested in progressive politics, I discovered radical leftism, red and black socialism, somewhere around 25. Before that, I was just sort of a run-of-the-mill social democrat. I was very big into Barack Obama, who's a corporate Democrat. When Barack Obama was elected, I think I was about 27 years old, and I had already been initiated into Chomsky, Chris Hedges, thanks to my local public library. I didn't go to university, so I was educated by socialism. The New York Public Library is the most pure socialist education you can get. Profoundly egalitarian. So, during the first 2 years of the Obama presidency, when I had first started talking politics online as the BronxBlogger, I went from being an on-the-fence social democrat to being a full-blown anarcho-syndicalist, anarcho-communist, basically red and black socialism. And this was maybe a reaction to the Tea Party and sort of the Tea Party flirting with ANCAPs. Flirting with, when the Tea Party started to, wine and dine Ayn Rand, even though Ayn Rand wasn't an ANCAP, Ayn Rand hated ANCAPs, but she was a minarchist. And so when I saw them going in that direction of, do we need the government? Do we need the government? I stopped for a second and thought, well, does the left need the government to get our goals accomplished? We had a left-branded president in office, and we weren't getting jack shit done. If anything, the agenda of the right-wing Republican neoliberal caucus was getting done even more proficiently than when Bush was in office. So, around the time of the midterm elections, 2010, Barack Obama was running around with a Ronald Reagan biography under his arm, because right after the financial crisis, America's weird-ass reaction, instead of going like all New Deal, they went very sort of nutty right-wing and started praying to the free market. It was deeply deranged and horribly disturbing. You know, the Tea Party was the last wave of this kind of right-wing minarchism, small government, conservatism. Once the Tea Party around 2012 was stomped out, squelched in the Republican primary, this was supposed to be Ron Paul's election. You know, if you asked people about who would win in 2012, or who would be the nominee in 2012 for the Republicans, you would think they had to be anointed as the Messiah by the Tea Party. But in fact, the Republicans manipulated their caucuses, to install a neoliberal candidate in Mitt Romney that the base was disgusted by. So their reaction to Mitt Romney in 2012 was to cut away the economic part of Ron Paul and just nominate the right-wing populism part. I don't endorse the principles of Ron Paul, but he's a fucking libertarian. I'm a fucking libertarian. I'm a left libertarian. He's a right libertarian. You would think that in some way I would rather work with him than Trump. Trump is a right-wing authoritarian. He is the most dangerous form of populist. And even though electing someone who prays to Ayn Rand like Ron Paul did would be disastrous, it's nowhere near the form of tyranny that Donald Trump, in coalition with the Christian right and the other kleptocrats, try saying that 5 times fast, the other kleptocrats on Wall Street are going to do while they strip the fucking tires off this country and rob us blind. I've often said that Trump is not Hitler. Trump is the Chancellor of Weimar. He is going to be the person who bankrupts the nation, imposes, or at least sets the stage for brutal austerity, probably imposed by Democrats when they take power again, in the name of feeding the god of free market fundamentalism. And then my Hitler will come. He won't be Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer's too much of a pussy. But Richard Spencer will speak for him, and he will set the stage, and he will keep that audience primed. No. The Hitler of North America will probably be more rabid and less political even than Donald Trump. That seems impossible. But even Trump is not brutal enough for the heart of American fascism. And I'm not talking about Ronald Reagan fascism, and I'm not talking about Barack Obama fascism, Bill Clinton fascism, which is neoliberalism. It's a sort of an inverted totalitarianism, sort of polite fascism, polite police state, polite mass incarceration, We're talking about after Trump is done ripping the curtains out of the White House, robbing the Oval Office of all its gold fixtures, you are going to meet. It might be a rogue general, because there is a white nationalist element in the U.S. military, and they are officers. There might be some kind of a coup. There might be some kind of an abdication. But it is going to happen while ostensibly liberal Democrats are cleaning up the disaster that Donald Trump leaves behind after he empties and privatizes all of the offices of government, and not exclusively, but particularly white families in rural red states where each state has its own off-the-books militia are divested of the small amount of social contract that they have been afforded in this ruthless, brutal country. And just like Golden Dawn in Greece, and just like, I know Godwin's Law, but Godwin's Law has become real. Like, I mean, fascists have always been here, but man, if we can't say the word now, we can't say it ever, because we really truly are on the cusp. I know it makes me sound like a nut job, but we really are on the cusp. There are very few mitigating factors that are going to stop the West from falling into some kind of fascist regime change in the next decade. Brexit is the first domino in the collapse of the European Union and the rise of nationalism in Europe. And once that happens, once right-wing populism and nationalism seizes the West, the demagogues will make hay. And even FDR himself benefited from militant nationalism. Fucking FDR used internment camps on the Japanese. I mean, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was, to an extent, an authoritarian socialist, and that's not my bag either. I don't want Social Security plus internment camps. I don't want Medicaid plus gulags. It's not worth it, man. Fuck all that. I want liberty. I just want it without poverty. Red and black. It's the only flag that's going to matter in the next decade. It is the only kind of freedom, even if we don't make it, even if everything falls down and the left collapses and they eat our bones. We don't have to make it easy for them to swallow, do we?